You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio here in Greater Sudbury, and we're also streaming at cklu.ca online. And you can just stream us by clicking on the Radio Player Canada app. You can also download that app and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, follow the page and the channel, and mainly comment on the live. I'll do my best to get your comments read for those listening and up on the screen for those watching. And we're also on demand after the live stream on Facebook and YouTube, but also Twitter.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator. All of the news from Sudbury aggregated into one convenient web page, so you can catch it all there. You don't have to go around and search for it. And it's very convenient, and it's a service that we provide to the community. So I hope everyone's having a great day. It's going to be a great show. There's enough local news to cover this morning, and then there's always something going on in this country that's interesting. It never used to be that way. I remember growing up, Canadian politics was so boring. There was nothing really there to talk about, nothing interesting. American politics was interesting, but Canadian politics was kind of dry and boring. But today, we definitely don't have that. We have all kinds of stuff to... if it's keeping us entertained, I guess, is one way to look at it. It's something that makes us wonder a lot about politics and why people do what they do when they feel they're doing the best for the country that they're representing. It shows a little bit about human nature, but nonetheless, it's just interesting now. It never has been before. There's all kinds of issues going on. And the latest in the plethora of, scandals and scams and, what we just came through in the last 4 years with how everything has been going in Canada. And, let's just say, the legalization of marijuana and pot stores on every corner, more than Tim Hortons. The opioid crisis, the housing crisis with the immigration, medical assistance in dying, trying to make that also available to young people who suffer from anxiety, to give them the option to have a state-sponsored suicide at the hands of our doctors, paid for by taxpayers. The immigration policies alone, having so many people, millions and millions of people coming into Canada without the infrastructure to handle it, without a plan really. And then the taxes, it's just taxes on taxes on taxes. Misspending too, just overspending on things with no accountability. I could keep going on. There's way more things than that. And now the latest with the report that was just issued on international foreign interference in our elections and meddling in our country through our elected officials. It just boggles the mind. And again, I didn't even I didn't even scratch the surface of all the things going on the federal level. Like, there's way more than what I just mentioned. But this is a pretty important one. You know, if you have members sitting in Parliament that are legislating, making decisions for Canada, but we know that they're meeting with foreign actors and giving away privileged information, which is treason. They're committing treason, but there's no accountability, really. And now Elizabeth May just came out, the leader of the Green Party, saying she's read the report and there's nothing, nothing to get excited about, really. There are some things we'll have to do, but nothing to get excited about. She's glad she read it, and the media is overreacting. The media is overreacting. And we'll also see, I think it's Jennifer O'Connell. She's the secretary of whatever. She's the Minister of Security and including cybersecurity, amongst a few other things. But she just says, get over it. Just get over it. Come on, And will this be the straw that broke the camel's back now? Will this be the thing that will finally get us to take action to some degree in this country? If things are just allowed to continue and there's no accountability and people are just allowed to do whatever they want with our money and with the power that we've given them, it's just boggles the mind. Again, I've only just scratched the surface on things that are going on. It's the most investigated government of all time in Canada. There's so many scandals, so many potential criminal activity. I mean, this particular government enacted the War Measures Act on his own citizens, too. This is another thing. That's just, if we continue to just think of the last 9 years, but more importantly, the last 4 years, enough's enough. Now you have the the Western premiers getting together talking about leaving Canada because the way that they're being treated too. Like Quebec just received $750 million to deal with the immigration that they have coming in, like all of Canada has. But Quebec, for some reason, received $750 million from the federal government to deal with immigration, whereas the Western provinces received zero, even though they have, and arguably look at BC, like it's always had a huge immigration influx, and now even more, and try buying a home in Vancouver. Yet the federal government doesn't treat the provinces the same, never has. And $750 million, you know how much that is? So the $750 million. But do you think Quebec will deal with their immigration any better with $750 million? Do you think that's even going to do anything? What are they going to do with that money? Again, there's money being spent all over this country. We're going so far into debt, we'll never be able to get out of it. Interest rates have gone up. It's just debt on debt on debt on debt, spending in the name of doing it for your good. And it's out of control, no accountability. Canadians are losing confidence in not only the political system, but the legal system as well. If these people are allowed to just get away with things and not be held accountable on a legal basis, then we lose confidence in the legal system as well. And when we start losing confidence in the legal system, in our parliamentary system, what's next? That's the foundation. That's at the bedrock of our country and keeping everything together. They talk about democracy all the time. Do you think they really care about democracy? Do you know what democracy means? It means the majority of people. That's what democracy means. If the majority wants something, it happens. Now, we've seen this prime minister go out and pound his drum on a minority issues, which is, I guess, somewhat commendable, but making legislation that everyone has to live with for a minority of the population, that's not democracy, right? So you can't keep saying democracy and govern in a totally different way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So many things. It's just so many lies and so much incompetence, or it's on purpose. And if it is on purpose, you're tanking this country on purpose. It's bad enough if you're tanking it because you don't know what you're doing. But if you do know what you're doing and you're doing it on purpose, it's even worse. And so this particular issue with this foreign interference and foreign meddling with our MPs, treasonous by the definition, and should be treated as such. And we'll see if we can regain some kind of confidence in our legal system and in holding everyone accountable, not just a certain amount of Canadians accountable for what they do, but all Canadians, regardless of your position in this country. Anyways, we will talk about that and more on the show. But first, we're going to dive into a little bit of weather, local weather. We'll come back with your comments, news headlines, and more. Stick around. It's going to be a great show. I promise. Or your money back. And your weather is brought to you by Duck Check. If you're concerned or you think that breathing clean air is important, then Duck Check are the ones. They're the experts. They are certified and trained professionals here in Sudbury. You go to duckcheck.com. They'll make sure that your air in your home is the best quality it can be. And the way the air circulates in your home is through your ductwork. And so a lot of things can build up in there, including mold. And you want to make sure that you're not breathing that in. And they're able to come in and inspect your ductwork and make sure that everything is as clean as possible. So you're breathing in the air that's as clean as possible. Currently, it is 9 degrees outside. It's mostly cloudy. Today, there's a mix of sun and cloud. 30% chance of showers early this morning. 40% chance of showers late this afternoon. And the wind will be gusting up to about 40 in the morning. High of 24. Humidex will feel like 25. The UV index 7 or high. Tonight, partly cloudy with a 70% chance of showers. Risk of thunderstorm overnight. Wind gusting to 40 kilometers per hour, becoming light this evening. Low of 14 overnight. Look at your longer range. You got your 21 degrees and showers tomorrow. You got your 30% chance of showers and 21 degrees on Friday. Sunny still. It's still saying it's going to be sunny on Saturday with a high of 22 and partly cloudy, mix of sun and cloud on Sunday with a high of 23. And then 30 degrees on Monday, mix of sun and cloud, and 31 degrees on Tuesday with a mix of sun and cloud as well. So a lot hotter temperatures in store for Monday and Tuesday, but a look at your satellite shows a lot of cloud activity and some precipitation going on right over our area. And that is your weather, brought to you by Duck Check. Visit duckcheck.com or call them up at 705-918-4848 and let them know that we sent you, and you can get $100 off your next inspection and cleaning, and let them know that we sent you in order to get that $100 discount. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Duck Check. We'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and more right after this. Okay, and we are back. We have a few people on this morning. It kind of went up and down a little bit. That's what happens. I noticed that There's algorithmy things going on. Not sure why. I don't know who makes the algorithms and why they are what they are. But we used to get, like, on a show, let's say, right after the show was done, there'd be about 250, 3-second views. They kind of take the data of 1 minute views, 3-second views, all kinds of stuff. People to just click on and click off, and you get those. But anyways, there was like 250 or so. But lately, it's down to like 70. So it's a it's 1/3 or a quarter of the amount of views. And I, in particular, know that we've actually had more interest in the show and more people are aware of it and watching it. And so it kind of doesn't make any sense unless the views were coming from other places in the world, let's say, and it was, Facebook for some reason where, it's promoted all over the world and we just had people checking in and now it's more regional. I have no idea. Again, I have no idea these algorithms and how they do things. I just know that people aren't getting notified of the show being live. More and more people telling me that, where they used to get notified. We're not sure why it changed. It just did. It is what it is. But you know what? We're still here each and every morning, live on CKLU, on the radio, and streaming at the website, cklu.ca, and Facebook and YouTube. So far, so good. We know to get the conversation going. You know where the conversation is, and whether or not you're alerted to it. If you want to come, you come. And I guess you're just not going to get a reminder. That's about it. And Nana, good morning. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're having a great day as well. Thanks for the smiley emoji this morning. And Nancy, good morning. We as Canadians need to keep smiling and never lose hope. Exclamation point. And that is so true. We do. And Pat, good morning to you as well with an exclamation point. And Belinda with a positive quote of the day. Good morning to you. There are moments when you realize every rejection, denial, blocked path, or perceived disappointment has only redirected you for a greater purpose. Nothing worthwhile is ever easy. That is so true. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Never is, never will be. And, there is a point, though, I have to make, that sometimes when we want something and we keep trying and trying and trying, we need to get the point, too, that maybe something isn't meant to be. But other than that, if the things that are worth it do take time and do take effort, and they usually don't come easy. When they do, it's because you've done a lot of work already and you weren't expecting something to just go your way. It's kind of like in sports, you could take a shot, let's say in hockey, on the net 20 times and they never go in. And then as long as you keep doing what you're doing, you're in front of the net, a puck will bounce right off you and go in the net. But it's because you're always working day in and day out at something. And there is a saying that's not coming to my mind that I'm trying to just keep talking until it comes, but it ain't a-coming. But it's accidents, what is it? Good luck comes to those who work hard, kind of thing. That's what I'm trying to get to. A lot of people say, well, you're lucky, but you've been working really hard at something for a long time. So it looks like you were lucky, but it's because you put yourself in the position to be lucky. There you go. That's my attempt at trying to explain when my brain's not working 100% this morning. Okay, good morning, everyone from Barrie. That's Marianne. And I'm just looking for the next part, but thanks so much for liking and sharing each and every morning, Marianne. Also, wow, good thing I know you're always on because it takes forever to get the page. Really? That's interesting. So not only are you not getting notified, it's hard for you to get to us as well. Again, I don't understand these things. I don't know why it would be that way. Is there a reason why someone would want to make it hard to just come on the show each and every morning? Like, why would somebody think that that's a good thing to do, is make it hard to come on this show for some reason? I don't understand it. Maurice, good morning! Exclamation point. Happy face. Belinda says Christia and Justin's Fourth Reich is being exposed. Who are the treasonous MPs? I think we're about to find out. News at 11. I'm just kidding. We won't be on at 11. We'll be on tomorrow again at 7:30 in the morning. Marianne says everyone, and I mean everyone, has been affected by the pandemic, whether they are aware of it or not. Yes, we were talking about the last 4 years and how interesting that has been here in Canada and around the world, really. But Sheila, good morning. Britain called election. France called election. Could we be hopeful? 3 times is a charm. Yes, that's true. Interesting media coverage on those elections as well, right? Because more conservative governments got in those countries, the media has to say, they voted. Far right governments are in those countries. Far right governments. So you're conservative these days and you're far right. Yeah. Because far right, does that have a positive sound to it, or does it have a, oh, I need to be worried sound to it? It has an, oh, I need to be worried sound to it. Something you'll notice in the media that they don't say is a far left government. They never will. You'll never hear that in your lifetime, unless it might be from an unbiased media source, which are very rare, especially in the mainstream. You won't find that. But so do we have a far left government in Canada right now? I would say, yeah. I would say definitely super progressive, far left. For liberal, you'd expect maybe NDP or Green, someone to be a little bit more on the left. But Justin Trudeau's doing a great job of being far left. But why won't the media just call it that? Because it makes it sound like something's up. Why is it far? Why is it so far left? Why can't it just be a little bit more moderate and more in the middle? Well, we just won't say it that way. We won't say what kind of government he has. That way, we'll just keep calling the other people far right. And they have to be afraid. So why would the media keep doing that? We don't know. We just keep asking questions. Well, I could probably guess why, but I'll just leave that up to you to find that out. Marianne says, LOL, Elizabeth May says, no mention meaning MPs. I call BS. No one mentioned meaning MPs. Yeah, she said a bunch of stuff, eh? Like she was like, I read it, I got clearance, and I'm going to be careful with what I say because now I could be in trouble. And that's why Pierre Poilievre will not read it and get his security, whatever, clearance to read this document, because then there's a gag order put on you afterwards after you read it. But Elizabeth May wants to show that, no, look, I can still talk about it. So Pierre Poilievre must be just lying. And no, that's not the truth. And the way she came out and talked about it, if you haven't seen it, you need to see her press conference. Well, she'll take a press conference any way she can get it because her party barely has any people in Parliament, and she'll take whatever camera time she can for whatever reason. So that's really the main reason politically that she even read the thing and is now talking about it, because she doesn't get much airtime because you can't in her position. Good morning, David. Good morning. Take care. Stay safe. Much appreciated. Hope you're doing well these days, David. Belinda says this treasonous, deceitful house of cards is starting to implode. Canadians are well aware. I would hope so. I would hope so. I know even some diehard liberals that have had enough now too, and which is interesting. But there are those lifers and those people that'll just keep clinging, because what else are we going to have if it's not Justin Trudeau? It's dangerous. We could have, the Conservatives could get in, and then look what could happen. Look what Harper did to the country. Look what he did. Just remember previous to 10 years ago, how life was in the country. Remember how bad it was? Remember the crime rates and the drug problems and the over-immigration and the debt and all of that before Harper? Remember how bad it was? How much more worse it was? Terrible. We don't need that again. That's crazy. That's sarcasm for anyone who just isn't aware. All right, so Penny says MAID, which is medical assistance in dying, is a way of government saving money, and it is true. Whether or not that's the main reason they're doing it or not, it is saving them money and getting rid of costly health costs. But it is drugs that cause lungs to fill up, which is correct. We shared that video right here on the show with fluid, and it's drowning. They give a paralytic drug first, so it looks peaceful, but it's not peaceful at all. Yeah, you watched the video. We shared that video, I think, last week on the show with the lady that was speaking with Jordan Peterson in his podcast about the paralytic. So they give you a drug. It paralyzes you. You can't talk. You can't move. And then they give you the drug that actually does you in, and it causes you to drown in your own fluids, which is like waterboarding kind of thing. So it's a torturous death. So it's not peaceful at all. It's actually, you're not able, it's like when you're in a dream and you're trying to scream and you can't. That's not peaceful. It's the same idea. Sheila says, I thought I was the only one that could see this. Yeah, no, you're not the only one. And Marianne says, that is what they want. They want it swept under the rock. Treason is treason. Highest crime. It will not go away. That is true. Oh, under the rug, not a rock. You know what, though? Hiding it under a rock, it's harder to lift a rock than it is a rug. So I was going to go with that anyways. Belinda says their plan is to attack the middle class and tax them to death. Well, if that wasn't their plan, that's exactly what's happening either way. If incompetent or on purpose, that is what's happening. The middle class is under attack and we are taxed to death. And I'm not sure if we're going to be around much longer with this going on. Monique, good day, everyone. Heart emoji. Thank you so much. Marianne says Quebec, like I said, gets special privileges because they didn't sign the Charter of Rights, and that is true. They're not under the Constitution of Canada. They did not sign the Charter of Rights, and they kind of do get privileges because they can, I think, because they could say, we're not really part of it, but if you want us to be part of it, maybe you can keep giving us what we want, and maybe you never know. Maybe one day we will. Denise, good morning, everyone. Love the show. Lots of info. Thank you so much. Stay safe and healthy to you as well. Denise, thank you very much. Judy, good morning to you. And Penny is sharing a link here, which is great. It's probably the link of what we're just talking about with MAID. I appreciate anyone sharing links to educate and inform anyone who is on the show for the subjects we're talking about, and then subjects we might not even be talking about. Exactly. They want to eliminate the middle class, I think, and liked and shared. That's Denise. Thank you so much. And blessings from Espanola from the other Denise. Blessings to you also, Denise. Brian, good morning, Patriots. Thanks for being on, Brian. Much appreciated. Hope you're having a great day. Denise Trudeau says the same crap every election. He does nothing, just a bag of hot air. Okay, well, tell us what you really think. Don't beat around the bush. That's a joke as well. Sarcasm. Marianne, referendums are true democracy, not voting for parties. Yeah, parties sometimes dilutes the system and makes it harder to have the real difference makers in there. He is causing division in Canada. His mandate is to divide and conquer. Well, possibly. I wouldn't doubt it. He's definitely dividing Canadians. No doubt about that. We're definitely not united. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. Winston Churchill. You got some really great quotes lately, and many of them from Winston Churchill. Thank you very much, Brian. He is like a 10th cousin of mine, actually, which is very interesting. So on the other hand, the ones who created Islam also created other religions. Yeah, there are many religions out there, and they had to be created at some point, for sure. You'd have to ask yourself why there's so many religions. You know, if we would all, other than a few religions who believe there's many, many deities, many of the religions out there would say that there's only one. And so if there's only one, why are there so many religions? That is a huge question that many people have, for sure. And there are answers to that, but you got to ask the questions first. Belinda says, didn't Marie Antoinette state, let them eat cake? Didn't she lose her head over that statement? If the government thinks they can have their cake and eat it too, they may end up on the same boat. Yes, and found out recently that I think she's my 7th cousin, Marie Antoinette, on my father's side. Most of relatives that I know that have done things in the world that many people would know, like a Winston Churchill, are on my mother's side. But Marie Antoinette, oddly enough, on my dad's side, he doesn't have too many people that are known that are on his side. Our government is a joke. Everything is an illusion. Well, that definitely will ring true with a lot of people, for sure. I was contacted for a convoy to Ottawa, and stand your ground where you live. I'm not supporting attention seekers that take us away from our halls. So again, stand where you are. Do what you can in your community. That's probably the best way to do it. I think the cans are a good example of that. The community action networks that we have right around here in Greater Sudbury and all of our communities, probably a really great, way to get involved and make a difference in your community. So thanks, Denise, for that. All right, let's. I know there's still some more comments there. We'll get them up on the screen. I just wanted to dive in a little bit here and see what news stories we have going on around Sudbury and things that relate to us here. The provincial government is giving us a license to fish on Father's Day without any costs. So no license required for dads to fish this weekend in Ontario. Ontario allows several license-free fishing periods during the year, including the Father's Day weekend. That's from Sudbury.com. A company in Cochrane has bought a Black Hawk helicopter to fight forest fires, and they've added a helicopter to their fleet, which it hopes to fight forest fires. Now, hopefully, that's from CBC, by the way. Hopefully, while they're in the air, they can catch some arsonists too that are starting these fires. So we would hope. A Sudbury student wins silver medal at Skills Canada competition. That is from the Sudbury Star. So read all about it. Just going through some of the headlines here on Sudbury.news. We'll dive into a couple of them. Okay. Also, Sudbury Star covering Llewellyn Park students shine at Canada-wide science fair. Sudbury.com has panelists invited to discuss future we want to live in. It's a Sudbury event that focuses on imagining a better future for Sudbury. That's in Sudbury.com again. It will be June the 17th. So if you want to know more about that, Sudbury.com's got all of the information you need. Activists argue against settlement with tobacco industry, call for a planned shutdown instead. Physicians for a Smoke-Free Canada wants governments to take over the cigarette industry and running it as a non-profit with its own disappearance as a planned goal. So totally annihilate cigarettes altogether. That is interesting. Okay, now jumping over to Sudbury.com, they have their segment Stories to Start Your Day, which we really appreciate. City of Greater Sudbury. We talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago, but we spent $9.1 million in overtime last year in what Councillor Pauline Fortin from Ward 4 previously signaled, might spur a deeper dive into city budgets. Oh, could we be getting closer and closer to an audit? One would like to know. Excuse me. Maybe we're going to be doing a deeper dive into the budgets. Additional information has been released in relation to a city overtime pay. Last year, the city spent $9.142 million in overtime, far exceeding last year's budget of $3 million, almost $4 million. It was a slight drop from the $10 million spent in overtime in 2022. So we spent $10 million in 2022, $9 million in 2023, but it remains greater than the pandemic year, 2019, which is only $6 million. So you'd think there'd be a lot more overtime in the pandemic years because of the pandemic, as we saw Penny Sutcliffe, who is the head of public health here in Sudbury, received almost $1 million in her salary for that year because of all the overtime. You could say because it was mainly a health-related thing, but that's a lot of money to receive in 1 year. Overtime pay is funded mainly from the city's budgets for salaries and benefits. These numbers were tabled in a report prepared for the June 18th Finance and Administration Committee meeting of City Council, which aims to supplement information released last month. So there you go. So we're not just losing money. We're not just bleeding out money. We're actually making some money off some investments as well. Did you know that? The city has investments yielding an average rate return of 5.1%. The city of Greater Sudbury's total investment income from all sources last year was $37.9 million, so $38 million approximately. This is a significant jump from the $16.9 million of municipal interest earnings recorded the previous year. These earnings come as a result of the city's finance department investing money throughout the year following their investment policy statement, including both short and long-term investments. An investment income of $12 million was credited to the city's reserve and trust funds, more than doubling from the last year. The balance of the city's investment income was earned by capital and operating funds. Credited to the city's operating fund, $25 million, which is a jump from $11 million recorded the previous year. So again, high interest rates possibly the reason for the return. But we were $40 million in debt 6 years ago as a city, so that would have got us right out of debt if this was 4 years ago or 6 years ago. I think 4 years ago. And now we're going to be $600 million in debt. So the return that we're getting on investment will do nothing for that. So a lot of money going out, more money going out than coming in, which is usually the story. Good morning, Claire. Thanks for being on. Much appreciated. Hope you're having a great morning. And so a lot of spending going on, a little bit of revenue coming in. Doesn't look good for the future, but they are having that event coming up asking about our future and what kind of future we're going to have. Maybe they'll discuss the economics of things in that event. Good morning, Monique. Thanks for being on. So switching gears a little bit to what the heck? Tyranny going on at the federal level, but nothing really being done about it so far. It looks like they're not chomping at the bit to get justice or to deal with these MPs that have been found to be doing tyrannical things. Good morning, Jerome. Wonder how much Wacko City is involved in all of this. Yeah, you never know, right? These are the questions we have. If we don't go after the people who are involved in this, then we speculate. What about our own local MPs? Are they part of this? Right? We don't know. Again, you're not telling us. So what do you expect? What do you expect? So anyways, more on that right now. Here is the some news coverage about it. You know, mainstream. You know, that mainstream news that talks about things that hardly anyone's watching anymore, unfortunately. Let's see. Here we go.
Also on Parliament Hill today, another key report on foreign interference, this time by a special all-party committee of MPs. Members of the National Security Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, or NSICOP, have security clearance to be able to review top-secret classified material and conduct its own review over allegations of foreign meddling in Canada's last two elections. Our chief political correspondent, David Aiken, joins us now. David, what's new in NSICOP's own take on this issue?
Well, first of all, Farah, we have what seems to be a never-before-disclosed incident of foreign interference. The NSICOP report says that a member of Parliament, quote, wittingly provided information to a foreign state. Now, NSICOP's members are clear to see the top-secret CSIS information about this, but NSICOP could not name the MP, it did not say when this happened, and it did not identify the foreign state in play. And when we asked the Public Safety Minister about it, he refused to comment.
I want to be careful not to comment on specific matters, intelligence matters.
In any event, NSICOP, and it's worth saying this once again, that this is an all-party committee, NSICOP said this was a, quote, particularly concerning case in which a sitting MP maintained a relationship with a foreign intelligence officer and that MP sought to arrange a meeting in a foreign state with a senior intelligence official. The NSICOP report said that MP also proactively provided the foreign intelligence officer with information provided in confidence. Now, the NSICOP report does go over much of the same ground as the public inquiry and other investigations we've already seen, but one interesting focus unique to NSICOP is parliamentarians and how foreign actors target them and their work.
So it's as serious as it
So now
sounds,
let's see
folks.
how Canada is dealing with all of this, right? So we're going to get another take. This is the Celtic Canuck. It's a wonderful commentary that she gives with her Scottish accent. It's anyways, so it's her take on all this. So where is this all going? Who's going to be held accountable? So they're debating about this in the House of Commons. And here you go. Here's a little bit of her take on what's going on, along with some of the footage from the debate from the House of Commons on this issue.
Our sovereignty is at stake. Our first duty is to Canada. There is only one acceptable answer, and it's not to tell Canadians, boo-hoo, get over it. That's unserious, unhinged, in fact. It further proves that this corrupt government is unfit to lead this country.
Mr. Chair, I think it's important for Canadians to understand that these names are contained in intelligence reports. In some cases, it's uncorroborated or unverified intelligence information.
If you come out with a list, the process of people who maybe got caught in this and have nothing to reproach themselves will make it really hard for those people to kind of clear their names.
The other thing is, it's clear from the report that some MPs are not even aware that they are being used.
Again, are you kidding me? Like they thought they were acting against the interest of Canadians for a domestic source, so that makes it okay? The hell kind of troll logic is that? If you were acting against the interest of Canadians, and I don't care who for, we should know who you are. You should not still be sitting there. But because you claim ignorance, the ones who knew full well what they were doing get to carry on and continue to legislate. There is no level of logic on which this makes any sense at all. And when Poilievre asks about it in Parliament, he gets accused of casting aspersions.
The National Security Committee indicates there are members of this House that have knowingly worked for foreign hostile governments. Canadians have a right to know who and what is the information Who are they?
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition knows very well that no government, including the government of which he was a member, is going to discuss particularities of intelligence information publicly, so he knows better than that. But the good news, Mr. Speaker, is if he wanted to get the appropriate security clearance and be able to see the confidential report of the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, he would be much more informed than he is now, and we would invite him to do so he wouldn't stand up and cast aspersions on the floor of the House of Commons without any information whatsoever.
As though this didn't come from the intelligence agencies themselves, and he just made it up to make the Liberals look bad. And then it's on to the same old go-to, security clearance, which Poilievre had. He's not refusing the clearance. He's refusing the gag order. Because if he reads that report and signs that secrecy order, he's not allowed to talk about it anymore. And they would love that, wouldn't they?
I'm not sure I understand the rationale for Mr. Poilievre to not get the security clearance that would allow him at least to know where his bearings are inside his own caucus.
Well, and particularly because my understanding is he has the security clearance as a Privy Councillor. The only question is, will he sign on to the secrecy oath?
Conservatives say security clearance is a trap that would prevent them from speaking in public.
There's a proverbial muzzle based on what is learned in that briefing. Is that not right?
There are absolutely limits to what the leader of the opposition will be able to say.
So I would tell them to shove it in the same place he did. No consideration given for 1 second to keep the citizenry informed. Secret and highly confidential, they say, and we don't release that, they say. Well, why is it secret? What is the rationale behind keeping it confidential? We are talking about potential Manchurian candidates as well as dodgy dealings going on in our parliament. Ours, not theirs. And we're told that's confidential as though it doesn't concern us when we are exactly who it concerns. So call me crazy, but these names need to be out front and centre and every single individual on that list subjected to further investigation. If they are cleared, they're cleared. But I'm pretty sure they didn't just pick names out of a hat. Some investigation was already done to name these people in the first place. But the Liberals are acting like it isn't fair until we look into it, when interference was looked into, and these are the names of the dodgy bastards that were in on it. So what the hell does he mean by it's not fair until it's looked at? It's been looked at. We want the results, and that's exactly what you're hiding. The investigation is done. Which raises my next question. The director of CSIS says that the political leaders could take steps to make sure parliamentarians face consequences even if they don't face criminal prosecution. And the obvious question here is, why wouldn't they face criminal prosecution? And if it merits prosecution, whose permission is CSIS waiting for it to do that? Are you telling me even in the event of treason, a potentially treasonous government has to say it's okay before laws can be enforced? As though the option exists for them to say no, don't bother? Because does that option exist? Serious question. Police, intelligence, these agencies are supposed to operate with a level of independence that allows them to enforce the law. If that independence does not exist and we need Trudeau's permission to enforce the law on an individual basis, well, that does explain a lot over the last few years, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it's supposed to work. Because to allow this to carry on makes whoever is not enforcing the law complicit in the whole thing. So who in the hell is supposed to enforce the enforcers who are not enforcing? Riddle me that in the comments. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend you going to her channel. She's got some really great commentary. And again, it's all asking questions. It's asking questions. She makes some really great questions there. So why aren't we prosecuting? Why aren't we revealing the names? If there is a definition of treason and these people fall under that, don't we have things in place to deal with it? Don't we just follow the program and then restore confidence in our political system and in our legal system and our justice system? It would be great, I think, for Canadians to actually see it at work and know that their vote actually counted, first of all, and it wasn't interfered with. The system, the election wasn't interfered with, but we know that it was now. So it was. To what extent was it? Who was involved behind the scenes, and who was involved in terms of MPs here in the country? We need to know these things, and there needs to be action taken on it, right? Or what? Like, if it's not, like, let's say they just hope this goes away, which it could. Like, if we had let's say another pandemic come or whatever, this could then get swept under the rug or the rock, as Marianne would say. And yeah, so what then, right? If we just kind of move on and something greater comes along and we forget about this, you just can't let it go. You just can't. This has to be dealt with, and we'll need to do that. And thanks for being on, Vin. I noticed your comment that CKLU is working today. Not sure what happened yesterday. It just kind of bumped us off, and I wasn't aware during the show that it was off. I just noticed at the end of it that it wasn't there. So so we are on today. I'm not sure what happened. Every once in a while, some technical glitch could happen, but hopefully not. We've made it through today, so hopefully we're on tomorrow, God willing. Same place, same time, same channels. We'll see you. Thanks for commenting, everybody. It was a great conversation. Even though there's a lot going on in the country, we can at least stick together and try and make sense of things, and maybe try and do something about what's going on, do our part, and make this country the kind of country that most of us would want to live in. The majority, if it is a true democracy, right? Let's actually run it like a democracy, and then it would be doing what it was meant to do. That's all the time we have. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Make sure to like, share, take care, and have a great, what is it today? Wednesday, hump day. And we'll see you tomorrow on Thursday. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.